Hey, Chappie, let me ask you, why hasn't anybody asked or demanded to know how Andrew Luck hurt his calf?
Oh, we've asked him. We've asked a couple times when we get to training. He won't go anymore. He's been asked. And the only other thing we can do is strap him down and do waterboarding or something. But he's been asked. Coach has been asked. And all we get is it was done during training. You know, when, late April, early May, we don't know. Everything that, so then you're sort of trying to piece things together. It sounds like it was done before they ever got on the field because he hasn't done any, from what we've been told, he hasn't done any work on the field with his teammates. And let's say, I can't remember what day they reported, let's say April 20th. The first 2 weeks are all conditioning, so you're not out there doing really football stuff. But no, he's been asked.
Is the idea that, what's that?
I understand people say, well, you guys aren't asking. We ask, and when I guess it gets to the point, how much of a, I won't use the word, how much do you want to push it to where you're getting a guy PO'd? I don't know it, but he's been asked, Frank's been asked. We really haven't had a chance to talk to Chris Ballard much about it, but the questions have been asked and they've been danced around.
Why is it such a mystery? Why, like, even with Peter King the other day, they just said he was very big. Why is this such a ongoing mystery?
Well, it's not just this. Teams in general are very protective, I guess is the word, when you start talking injuries and specifics, and at least we haven't got to where it's lower body, or whatever. At least we're getting, it's a calf, and with another player, it's a hip or it's an oblique. It's not like real generic, but it's funny, during the OTAs, we were talking to players who had things done in the off season, and one guy had a procedure and one guy had a surgery. Well, what the hell's the difference? I mean, is there a difference? It's like a minor surgery. Well, if it's on me, it's not minor. But when you start talking injuries and rehabs, they're very, very generic. I mentioned I had after yesterday that Chappell shared had a procedure on his knee. Well, surgery probably, but it's a procedure. I think procedure sounds less evasive and less serious, so they go that way. Like Jack Doyle had, if I remember, he had a kidney procedure and a hip surgery. So I don't know, but back to the original point. Luck's been asked, Reich's been asked, and all we're getting is was done during training. And to me, we talked about this last week, that the problem that they've created is that throughout the off season and OTAs, they downplayed the seriousness of it. It was, if we had a game this week, he'd be out there, and maybe so. But the fact that he's now been out, 3 months with this, and it's still rehabbing, we talked last week. I guess he needs to be practicing. Of course he does. My big concern is it's been 3 months and he's still rehabbing, or he's still getting the cat back to where it needs to be. So anyone who thinks he's going to play in a preseason game, they're delusional. He's not. I just can't see him playing against the Bears. What's the point? I mean, he's certainly going to play in Cincinnati, so he's got to get out there. I don't know. You're a coach. I don't know how much practice a player needs who hasn't going into a season, a week, 2 weeks. But I would think he needs to be out there at some level when Cleveland's here. Maybe even if it's just 7-on-7. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. He can do whatever. He didn't play in the preseason last year. My question is deeper than that, though. I mean, if your guy that's getting a ton of cash and basically is the face of the franchise and wants to be the face of the franchise and wanted to stay here and took a lot of the Colts' money, Jimmy Irsay's money, and he keeps getting hurt in non-football related things, to me, that's a bigger issue. That's the coaching side of me saying, what the hell are you doing? I mean, whether he needs to throw a ball, in anger before the first game, hell, he probably doesn't. But damn, if your star keeps getting hurt, in non-football things or in times when nobody's getting hurt, what the hell are you doing? I mean, that to me...
I would argue non-football. I know what you're saying. It was during their training.
Well, they say it was during the training, but they...
I understand. Yeah. And your point is valid, is when you're not getting the whole truth you're wondering what you're not getting and why you're not.
Well,
getting
you're also wondering. I think even more, and I know you guys are nuts on Andrew Luck. I know he uses big words, and you guys lose your mind. Zach Kiefer literally, needs a tissue and a sock when he talks. I get it, but the truth of the matter is, when you've got your guy,
a tissue and a sock. That's an image I ended up with me for the rest of the day. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. But the questions have to be asked of a guy like, how committed are you to this? Like, you can go snowboarding when you're freaking 50 or whatever. I mean, how committed is your, this supposed warrior that we have here to the football operation? That's how I look at it. In fact, my wife made the comment yesterday, at what point does he stop being a blank and start being a football player? And
and those are valid. Now, I don't question his commitment. I don't. I'm around him. I know that I know this is killing. It is. I think he's at the point, and here we are speculating because we don't have facts. I think that he's at the point with his rehab to where when he tries to do a football move, a sudden move, the calf kind of twinges, and his mind says, wait a minute, and he backs off. Now whether that's legitimate, whether that's a twinge that he needs to fight through, I don't know. And they've got top-notch trainers here. Tom House is here, his throwing guy, although I'd rather have a calf guy than a throwing guy right now. But I'm not to the point at all that I question his commitment.
Okay.
But I do think he's at the point to where he wants to be as close. They don't want this to be, when the season starts, that he's rehabbing this thing every week. Maybe he practices Wednesday, doesn't practice Thursday. That's what you don't want. So there maybe, if you want to argue, they're going to the extreme on he's not going to practice until he's 100%. Well, now who's 100%? You just aren't. The guys 100% are on the street. But this is one. I go back to that, and I'm not being a lapdog. Like I totally buy into him being committed. I think that yeah, boy, and then I'm being a lapdog for him.
You're the best.
What he's doing. I trust what he's doing. I don't think he's a P word.
Yeah.
So I now, but again, having said that, if we're having this discussion next week, he's not practicing yet. Again, my angst, my red flags go up a little bit each week because at some point, everybody else is out here practicing, and your quarterback isn't. And at some point, he needs to be out here, but. It's very, very, and I tell you, we talked to Frank Reich last week, and the one thing that struck me is when he said, Andrew's driving this truck. So Andrew Luck's return to the practice field is in Andrew Luck's hands. To me, it's beyond the medical staff now. It's beyond Tom House. This is, when Luck says he's ready to go, he'll go, and not before that. So you can argue whether, remember Jim Irsay, was it last year or 2 years ago, where he said it's that 4 inches between his ears and all that, and there may be some of that because even Luck said, there's emotional scars from previous times, and maybe he's one of those guys that overanalyzes and thinks too much and all that. But having said that, I'm totally on. I've talked to enough people. I think he's going to be more than ready September 8th physically, and I think maybe after a game or two, because he's going to be. If he doesn't practice more than 1 week or 2 weeks, he's going to be rusted. He just is. He's not throwing a mean. So and that does matter. When you think Devin Funchess is going to go this way, he goes that way, and then you have a completion, interception. There's going to be hiccups because he's missed time, but he didn't play. He played in most preseason games last year. He did play in all but the last one, I believe. Not a lot, but enough. I would like to see him out there a little bit in preseason. That's not going to happen. So whatever he gets done, it will be the last probably couple of weeks going into the Chargers game, and Colts Nation will have to hope that's enough, and we'll see.
I agree. Anybody stuck out to you?
Rock Yassin, the rookie corner. I tell you, I go back through the years, and I've done this a long time, and occasionally there's a player that just belongs. From the day he got here, I go back to Ray Buchanan. I go back to Gerard Powers. I go back to Antoine Bethea. And they just belong. You just say, yeah, that guy gets it. It's not too big for him. And that's what we're seeing with Rock Chacin. He's making plays every day. It's just every, and this goes back to OTAs. And the one, I won't say problem, the one issue they're going to have with this kid is getting him on the field. Because you got Desir, you got Kenny Moore, you got Quincy Wilson. Those are probably your top three. So they're going to be creative getting this kid on the field because he's that good this early. So maybe when they go to their nickel packages and all that, it'll be 4 corners and a safety as opposed to another safety. But this kid's played well. I like what I'm seeing from the receivers. I tell you, the guy, we talked this last week, the guy that's been as consistent as anybody, not named T.Y. Hilton, is Chester Rogers. Every year, the media and even the team brings in people to replace him, and he's still here. He's played well. Reese Fountain's had a good camp lately. Deion Kane. So it's really encouraging. But if you had to say who has stood out from start to finish, it's been Rock Chacin.
There you go. All right. Yeah, so.
But then again, he and the defense are playing against backup quarterbacks.
Right.
So then you temper, or the defense dominated today. Well, yeah, but they're going against.
That's another residual effect of Luck not playing. The defense doesn't get the opportunity to play against one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean,
it does matter. And like I said, if I'm a coach and I harp on the importance of practice, then don't tell me that Luck, you'll be okay, because Luck can get by without that much practice. You can't have it both ways.
Well, you can't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but. And I don't remember everything, but last year, the 1-5 start, Luck did not practice in the preseason.
He did. It was limited. Again, he played in all three preseason games. They just sort of worked him back in. But the fact that he had missed the entire offseason.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
And he was regaining the yard. His arm strength wasn't there until later. The first 4 or 5 games, go back and look, and his yards per attempt, which is always the overriding stat that tells you how a quarterback's playing, was really low, like mid-5s, which is think and dunk. And then once he got going, he started airing it out. But early on, what you saw, and the 1-5 start was way beyond Luck. It was
I agree.
Costanzo,
Right.
It was all that stuff. But he wasn't playing at that high level. They were trying to protect him. They were not, really letting his arm. They were having to let his arm kind of regain his strength. That won't be the case this year because he is throwing and the arm's not an issue, but he's missing everything else. And again, I think there is something timing between T.Y. and Luck. They'll have that, like Manning and Reggie and Marvin and all that, but not having so to these other guys, it will matter. And there will be plays during games where had they had more practice, maybe that play wouldn't have happened. But this is where they are. This is the hand that they've been dealt or they're dealing with, and we'll see how quickly Luck can sort of get his feet under him come September, because they're not going to wait, and teams are going to really force the issue when you've got a perceived weakness or not full strength of the position. They're going to exploit that.
Chappie, I appreciate you, man. Thanks. You're the best. Appreciate you.
Talk to you later.
All right, we'll be back.